Now we welcome Dean Masello, who is a stay-at-home father of twin babies, former lawyer, now comedian also, and he is the author of the Woke Dad blog and also writes for Fatherly. So welcome, Dean.
Hey, thanks for having me today. On my blog, Woke Dad, I started attempting to sell some merchandise just because I don't have any other source of income right now, and I have the wokedad.com, and then I have a big following on Facebook, about like 30,000 people, and most of them are friendly. I have some trolls, and for a while they were just mostly men who mocked me for being a stay-at-home dad, which in their mind meant that my wife cheated on me.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
So I kind of would interact with them, but then I realized that there was no use, so I just started ignoring them because those people weren't trying to engage. But then when I entered the the vaccine foray, I started getting mostly again support, but actually a solid I don't know if you'd call it, just response from the anti-vax community, which most of my followers are women, and most of the commenters were women, but there were men too, and they were saying that I was just like a sheep, and I was brainwashed, and they were like, do your research, and I was like, well, they first dismissed me as a comedian. I was like, actually, I'm a lawyer. I used to do abuse neglect cases for children, and they're like, well, you're not a doctor. I'm like, well, my wife is a PhD. She knows how to read research, and she and I have had extensive conversations about the research on, the extensive research on vaccinations, and that still wouldn't calm them down, because then they would just revert to the fact that, well, you're just brainwashed. Sure. And I had no idea really how intense. Like, just before being a dad, before getting into this, I knew that there was a movement. And as most people, I just blamed it on Jenny McCarthy.
Right.
And so, but the what really irked the anti-vaxxers is I decided to design a T-shirt so that kids who had finished, say, their toddler rounds of vaccinations could wear this shirt. And I designed some other hilarious shirts that have nothing to do with politics or vaccines. It has since quieted down, but if I ever post anything vaccine related, it's like there's some sort of bat signal where they just swarm on my page. Well, I mean, I can mostly talk to, my perspective as a stay-at-home dad who, has hung out with a couple other stay-at-home dads. But, they have to be involved. But I know, so I maybe share this little anecdote. So one of my wife's college friends vaccinated her first child, but then got nervous, even though there's nothing wrong with that child, and hasn't vaccinated her younger kids. And she is like a stay-at-home mom and has never wanted, even though she went to college, she never wanted to do anything but be a mom. And her husband works. And so he'll play with, he's like the kids, he's like the friend of the kids. And she cooks, she cleans, she makes all the decisions, and I actually like them both. And it's the thing where, like, I have friends who I grew up with who if I met them as adults and I knew some of their beliefs, we might not be friends. But we're already friends, and I really like these people, and so we can actually have a discussion with them. And this dad in particular, he's hands off about everything, including the medical decisions. He's like, well, it's up to her. And I'm just like, aren't you at all? Don't you want to do your own, research on this? It seems to be more of a caregiver issue than like a gender issue. And since it's mostly been, women as the caregivers, but once you have to step up to the plate, I don't know if there's much of a difference.
Right. So is there a way that you use your platform to encourage dads to get more involved with those everyday decision?
It's funny. When I first started, I don't know how to say it. When I first started as a stay-at-home dad, I started going to these local meetups for new parents, and it was just me and 20 moms. And I was also the only one with twins, so I just really stuck out. And I'm someone who grew up in Cleveland as a big sports fan, but I don't really follow it anymore. So the times where I've hung out with dads, I'm like, they'll start talking about sports, and I'm like, I don't know. I could tell you that Bernie Kosar played for the Browns in the 1980s. And so I relate equal to both, but you do have a lot of yeah. But I've been actually approached by a local there's like a local play space here, and I take the girls there, and the lady who runs it wants me to start running like a monthly dad meetup.
Ooh.
And so I'm supposed to be planning that, and I've had a couple other people say like, oh, why don't you host dad play time at your house, and so I've been approached a lot by a few people to start kind of using my platform, and so even though I don't necessarily feel like I have to hang out with dads, I can see that there could be a benefit to getting dads involved, because once you have your spouse might not, someone might not listen to me online, but maybe they'll listen to their husband, who,
right,
if he actually starts looking at the research. So I think I'm gonna try to walk in that direction. Again, with twins, it's just so hard to do anything.
Right.
I think in general, I think it's good for us to think about how we can encourage dads in particular to speak up about immunization, because we see a lot of moms online. We see some dads online. I don't know if this is tell me if this is your perception, Karen, of online people who seem to be against vaccines, that there are a lot of moms, like the number that we see are moms, like by and large in the comment section, moms, but the dads stand out as some of the nastiest.
Oh, yes.
And awful. Yeah. And that's not surprising given, just kind of other areas of the world where we see moms and dads. But I would like to see more effort reaching out to dads to stand up for this.
Find me on Facebook at Woke Dad, or Instagram also at Woke Dad. I'm on Twitter as Dean Masello, because someone stole the Woke Dad handle before I got there. And my website, wokedad.com. So any of those places, you could find me.
All right. And you've got someone slamming.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I want to thank you for joining us too at home and listening in. I think that one of the best calls to action we can have for this podcast is, if you're a man, speak up. And if you know men, ask them to become vaccine advocates in their own personal lives and in their online virtual lives. And we'll leave it there. This has been the Vax Talk podcast. My name is Karen Ernst. You can find me at voicesforvaccines.org.
And I'm Nathan Boonstra. You can find me on Twitter. My handle is PedsGeekMD, or find me on Facebook or at my blog, PedsGeekMD.com.
And look for us to guest star in several other podcasts that other people are going to be releasing during National Infant Immunization Week, the last week of April.
Marvel is pushing Infinity War as the greatest crossover event in our time.
No way.
And I'm telling you that what's coming up with Voices for Vaccines is, in fact, the most ambitious crossover event of our time. So be there.
Yeah. It's going to be huge. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.